Hey everyone, I'm Darth Bravo, and I'm here to review the first Spider-Man movie starring Tobey Maguire and directed by Sam Raimi. This is one of my favorite films of all time, and certainly one of my favorite Marvel films of all time. This is the movie that got me introduced to superhero movies, to comic books, to everything. It made me the type of fanboy I am today in terms of comic books. This is one of the comic book movies I will defend till my dying breath. I'm that much of a fan of this film. I can't praise it enough. So let me talk about the plot. It starts out with Peter Parker going on a field trip to Columbia University with his class, which consists of Harry Osborn and Mary Jane Watson. And during that, you see Harry's relationship with his father, Norman Osborn, played by William Dafoe, who in my opinion was a fantastic choice for the Green Goblin and played him incredibly well. Just as good as Jack Nicholson played the Joker in Batman from 1989. He is that good. And what I love the most is the relationship between Norman, Peter, and Harry, and the relationships each character goes through as the film progresses. Norman can relate to Peter more than he can to Harry. Just when he's talking to him about, the science stuff and how all this stuff works, and the parallels between Peter's spider bite and Norman sucking in those vapors that make him the Green Goblin eventually, are just tied in so brilliantly. And also, when Norman Osborn is conflicted about fighting Peter Parker, that's done so well too. Also, another thing I love is the relationship between Uncle Ben and Peter Parker. Even Cliff Robertson is only in the film for maybe like 17 minutes. We grow with Uncle Ben. One of the reasons why I think Spider-Man will always hold up, and why a movie like Daredevil is looked at as one of the worst superhero movies of all time, because of the relationship with the father figure of Uncle Ben. When he's talking to Peter and he's like, look, I've been there for your life, I know I'm not your father. And he's like, then stop pretending to be. And then when Peter goes to the wrestling match and lets the robber go and Uncle Ben gets shot. And that scene always gets me teared up. So another thing that I love so much about Spider-Man 1, some of the action scenes. The action in Spider-Man 1 is really good. Now, some of the effects, I will admit, are outdated by our standards. They look kind of shitty. And it's just like, going back to the relationship between Norman Osborn and Peter Parker, it's such an interesting relationship with their alter ego. When you see, Norman Osborn is this tough businessman. But one thing I love, and I don't think someone like Doug Walker or Noah Antweiler, who are two of my favorite YouTube critics, really appreciated, was that when he is confronted with himself, when his own dark side turns on him, that just scares him, because he starts to see how cruel, how sick he can be. The Green Goblin takes Mary Jane hostage. By the way, she gets kidnapped, or she has to get saved 3 times in the film, in the first film, so that's kind of pathetic. But ignoring that, when he does the sadistic choice, that scene where he's like, Spider-Man, this is why only fools are heroes. Because you never know when some lunatic is going to pull the sadistic choice. Let die the woman you love, or suffer the little children. And it's like, don't do a guy when he drops both, and when it's like, he has to make the choice between Mary Jane or the kids, and you wonder, oh my god, is he going to get to them? Of course he does. And then after he saves them and the boat gets them, Green Goblin and Spider-Man have one of the best fucking fights ever. This film, that scene, that end scene where they're both fighting each other, and Spider-Man's getting the shit kicked out of him, and and Green Goblin is wailing on him like crazy, until he's like, I'm gonna kill Mary Jane real slowly. And that's when Peter's like, oh hell no! You ain't touching my woman! I'm gonna fuck you up! And that's what he does. He beats the shit out of him, throws him into a glass, like throws a brick wall on him, beat the shit out of him until he realized it was Norman Osborn. And one of the other things is that Green Goblin is such a manipulative son of a bitch. Like when Peter's telling him, you attacked Mary Jane, you attacked Aunt May, you tried to kill them. And he's like, I could never hurt you. As he's about to use the glider to stab him, and he's like, I've been a father to you, be a son to me. And Spider-Man's like, I have a father, his name was Ben Parker. And he's like, and Norman's like, Godspeed, Spider-Man. And then he gets stabbed with his own glider, and his last request is, don't tell Harry. And of course, if you've seen Spider-Man 2 and 3, Harry Osborn does find out eventually about the Green Goblin and actually continues the legacy. But I'll get to those films later if I do a review of the entire Spider-Man trilogy. So, basically, I can't praise the first Spider-Man enough, except tell you what it is in my opinion. As I said, it's one of Marvel's best, and to me, one of the greatest examples of a superhero movie that's fun and serious at the same time, and the tones mix so well. So, in my opinion, Spider-Man 1 is a 9.8 out of 10. There are some dumb scenes in the movie that prevent it from being a 10, but it is one of the best superhero movies you will find. Live long and prosper and have a nice day.